Welcome, one and all, to the first episode of this unofficial BYU podcast. I'm your host, Dallen Smith. I've been a big BYU fan basically my whole life. I think it stems from probably 2003. So that was about 17 years ago. I'm 27 now. So most of my life, I was about 10 years old when I started watching BYU. I've lived in Utah my whole life. I've always liked BYU. My grandpa grew up in Provo. He used to, I believe, write a little bit or do the pictures or some sort of like video or like photo editing for the Daily Herald, and he did a lot of coverage on BYU. So, I mean, I've got this in my family a little bit, so hopefully I can make some sort of entertaining little podcast for you all here, but I've always wanted to try it. This is my first try, so here we go. Let's get started. BYU decimated, number 11 BYU decimated the Texas State Bobcats on Saturday night, 52-14, finally in front of like 6,000 fans, I believe. I looked and saw in the game, I think there were a lot of students in the stands, which was really cool to see because BYU hadn't been playing against anybody in front of fans, really. I think the first time they did was last week, and it was a bunch of Houston fans, and I think they were quoted as saying, well, we're just going to pretend that they're our fans, and I think it's kind of refreshing sort of a deal that they were able to play in front of fans, and they were their actual fans, which is kind of a cool deal. Zach Wilson, 19-25, 287 yards, 11.5 average, 4 touchdowns, and a QBR of 87.6. And he had that freaking amazing throw going from one side of the field to the other, throwing a 45-yard bomb to Dax Milne. Sorry, it's hard for me to say the name. Sometimes I'm just not good at saying certain names. BYU defensively forced, I think, 2 or 3 turnovers. Got a pick 6 from Isaiah Kafusi, which was amazing, which resulted to a 52-14 rout. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. When the game first started, because I'll probably have to go back to the beginning of the game, where the Bobcats just drove it down the field and scored. And I was like, oh no, not this again. We can't have this. BYU needs to dominate this game if they want to move up. Fortunately for us, they settled down. They scored 35 points. It was 35-7 at the end of the first half. They score another 14 and then kick a field goal. It was pretty much BYU had it from the early start. And you could just tell the offense just really, when that first drive went down for Texas State, the offense really kind of picked it up at the end. Because the offense, I think, knew that in order for them to actually be in the game, they had to actually put some points on the board, which, of course, ended up being 52-14. BYU moved up to number 11, which is pretty impressive. We're above Miami now, which, Miami's having a fantastic season, but I think BYU is having a slightly better one because here's the thing. They played a Bronco Mendenhall Virginia team and didn't really take it to them. I mean, they dominated the game from a perspective of they won the game, but they didn't really blow them out heavily. I'm trying to figure out the word for that. Yeah, I thought Virginia was going to win the game, honestly. Penn State lost, which I think really helped BYU. Because now this weekend, it's going to be Ohio State and Penn State. And if Penn State can win, that opens up a lot of doors. And then if a top 10 team could lose a couple of games, which there's a lot of football left. We're only at the end of October. We still got a couple months left before things could happen.